Well, today is May 26th and I figured I would do a quick garden tour. We have gotten a lot of rain in the last 5 to 6 days, so everything's looking nice and green. So we'll go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so up here in the front, we do have this verbascum that did bloom. I'm letting it go to seed so that it can self-seed. That's the Rudbeckia I pulled from up front and put back here. The penstemon did die. I think it just did not have enough water for some reason. But then I think that might be a little Rudbeckia seedling from last year. See Cleome there, that's the dahlia that came back. And we have the cucumbers and some onions. These gomphrena I went and bought from Big Bloomers because I didn't see very many coming up from last year. They didn't self-seed as good this year. And then I did notice after I had bought these were only supposed to get like 6 to 12 inches tall, so they're not the variety that I'm used to. But we'll see how they do. And then same thing over here, we have the cucumbers with some onions that didn't do as well over here. And then there is a little dill plant back there. I had put dill all up here, but didn't come up very well. I'm seeing a whole bunch of gomphrena on this side coming up now that we've had some rain, so I may be able to transplant some into that other bed over there. Another looks like a Rudbeckia here. The penstemon is doing okay over here. The dahlias that I transplanted from different parts of the garden, chive, doing pretty well. And then in this bed I have seeded some corn. And I did that just like 2 or 3 days ago, right before all this rain came, hoping that the rain would help germinate it. But I do have some cosmos planted in here as well as a volunteer tomato plant, and I have some hollyhock that's come up, but it came up kind of sporadically, so that's why I went ahead and put some corn in here in case these flowers did not grow. Chives that I need to come in and cut back. Some of the red basil here, dahlias from last year, about ready to bloom. More basil here. I believe those are carnations, if I'm remembering correctly. These walking onions, I'm thinking about pulling out and putting somewhere else, or just getting rid of them altogether. Augie, don't mess up my pants, please. And then through here, I think I put some gomphrena seeds. Augie, not right now, buddy. Mr. Ogg's just wanting some attention. But I got on white pants. Okay? Not right now, bud. Okay, and then in this bed we have the onions in the middle. There are some zinnia and cosmos coming up from last year amongst those onions, so I'm just going to kind of let them do their thing. And then on this side we do have some pepper plants, and I have some radish in between those. Peppers aren't looking too happy, but we'll see how they do. And then right here I do have some zinnias and cosmos mixed together. I do have a red okra. That was the only one. I had 8 okra plants, or 8 okra plants from Big Bloomers. Only 2 of them made it. The one's right there. I did come through and reseed with some of the Clemson spineless okra, so I did that again. It's about the same day I did the corn, so hopefully that comes up. In this bed we have a bunch of pepper plants. That's a green bean. There's the other little okra. You can barely see it. I need to cut back this time. Our Shasta daisy's looking really nice and green. But yeah, basically just peppers and some radish, some viola, volunteer bachelor button, which has fall over because of the rain. But yeah, just lots more peppers. Okay, and then coming back here, I need to transplant those peppers somewhere. But we have pole beans all along the trellis here, and lots of echinacea in bloom. So we'll go down the echinacea row. It's looking so pretty. All this rain just looks gorgeous. I have noticed that these varieties up here are more compact, and they don't spread their seed as much as those back there. So this, I don't know that they're necessarily different varieties. I think they're all the Paradiso mix. But they're all looking very, very pretty. And then back here we have the bee balm as usual, and a bunch more of the pole beans all along there. A volunteer Queen Anne's lace right there. We also have one mixed in the grass here, which is not going to make it very well, but more echinacea. These are the hardy asters that we got from Roses a few years ago. They didn't do too well this spring, but they were kind of shrouded by all of their debris. So I'm hoping that they'll look pretty come the fall. And Mr. Augie's wanting attention. His eyes look bad. And then we have, looks like some zinnia coming up here. Some more of the Shasta daisies. I do have some amaranth back here. You can barely see it. And then we have some hollyhocks. This is the Country Romance variety in bloom. Looking pretty. They kind of remind me of hibiscus flowers. Let's see, there's a bumblebee in this one. Very pretty. And then we have a Queen Anne's lace that I transplanted, which is doing decent. It actually died back, so I'm kind of surprised that it came back up. And then this bed I'm really looking forward to this year. Bunches of sunflowers planted in here, mixed with some of the echinacea that I transplanted from under the greenhouse. And then we have some yarrow that I transplanted from this yarrow. So looking pretty good. Then there's some cleome I see coming up in this bed. Some weeds that I need to pull. We have a volunteer zinnia, some more of the hollyhock, which on this side doesn't look as great as the other. It looks like it got some frost damage. I think that's what that is. Then we have the yarrow along with the Sweet William, which needs to be deadheaded, but I was trying to let it go to seed so I could collect some of the seed. And underneath it, where Augie is at, I've got the Coreopsis. And then I've planted a lot of cosmos in the center here. The lupin, I don't know if it's going to actually do anything. It keeps dying and then coming back, but it's not getting very big at all. Then we have the echinaceas. Then I do have some white eggplant here, which I'm going to pick off the blooms so that they can focus on growing tall and strong. And then we have catnip. Here, Augs, you want some catnip? Here. You want some catnip? You want some catnip? You want some catnip? He says, no, leave me alone. I just want pets. You just want pets. But that's about it for the garden right now. Hoping that everything will start to look lush and green after all of this rain. Fill in the beds nicely. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I do have 2 more Gomphrena I need to plant. But that's it for today. Oh, and I forgot. This is probably the fullest this green stalk has ever been. It's just a bunch of bush beans, which are honestly like, that is not a bush bean. Look how long that is. That's crazy. Doing nice. On this side here, I did have some volunteer petunias. I had petunias in this last year, so there are a couple in here. Some viola, which is not shocking. Let's see, there's another petunia down there. But yeah, hopefully I can get some good green beans off of it. It's looking nice and full. See if I can back up here and get a good, yeah, they've really taken off with all this rain.